Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My senior teacher, senior colleague, and my junior colleague, Assalamu alaikum. Today, I feel honored being here for this presentation. Recent advances in IOL calculation and biometry. Does the biometry really make a difference? I think you all are agree that it make a difference. Yes, it make a difference. In old days, the cataract was removed first and the spectacle prescription given at the end. But now the situation is reversed. Initially, we plan for IOL calculation and then we plan for surgery. Precise biometry is essential for accurate outcome in cataract and refractive surgery. Over the last decade, IOL power calculation has become a focal point of cataract surgery. IOL power calculations mainly we do with 3 parameters. And usually the error in these 3 parameters lead to error in IOL. If we do a 1 diopter keratometry error, it leads to 0.9 diopter error in IOL power. In axial length, if we press a cornea with a scan, which usually people are doing, especially unexperienced one, the 1 millimeter compression causes 2.5 diopter error in IOL power calculation. Then the IOL formula. IOL formula have various generations, and even now people are going beyond the formula, and we have other methods to calculate the IOL precisely. Keratometry, there are 3 types we take the keratometry. Manual keratometry, which is shown in the diagram, autokeratometry, and topography or pentacam, which gave the average K reading. Nowadays, the pentacam or topography keratometry, I think if you are planning for multifocal or toric IOL, this is, I think, the best option. Axial length measurement. We use ultrasound, and recently we are shifted to optical. Ultrasound was the gold standard for many years. Optical biometry in the United States in the year 2000, this technology has become more and more popular. It's an accurate alternative for precise ocular measurement used not only for axial length, but interior chamber depth, lens thickness, pachymetry, and retinal thickness measurement. So these all parameters, when you are taking, they give a precise intraocular lens calculation. Various formulae. Formula has steadily evolved over the past half century. The recent popularity of premium IOL multifocal has pushed the importance even further. Success of modern day cataract surgery is increasingly defined by the refractive outcome. If you have a good refractive outcome and you have a successful, means the success depends on your precise ocular and intraocular lens calculation. If you implant the multifocal or trifocal lens and your IOL calculation is not perfect, then I think the purpose will not be achieved. There are various formulae, theoretical formulae, regression formulae, mixed of both. Various generation, first generation, as you see, the SRK the Ben-Cos formula, and second SRK2, third generation SRKT, Hofer, Halliday, and fourth generation Halliday 2, Haggis, and Olson. And even nowadays, the fifth generation is also the. This is the accuracy range of commonly used formula by axial length. If this table shows if you have a short axial length I or normal length I or long length axial length I, then you can choose your formula from the table. Halliday 2 formula determine the effective lens position. It uses all the parameters like axial length, K reading, white to white, pre-op interior chamber depth, and lens thickness, and patient age. This formula take all the parameters of which are necessary for accurate intraocular lens calculation. They take all the parameters, and you can see here that if there is extreme short or long or extreme long axial length I, you can use the Halliday 2 formula, which is nowadays, I think this is the one formula you can use in all conditions. This is another table which shows if axial length is less than 20 millimeter, then Halliday 2, Hofer, and 20 to 22, then Hofer QO 22 to 24, then you can use SRKT. Today we are using usually SRKT, but this is for normal axial length. This is, I think, the perfect formula. But if the axial length is short, the SRKT will give a refractive surprise. 24.5 to 26, then Halliday. And in myopic LASIK cases, Hayagi's, and Peggy-Beg IL, Halliday are refractive formula. Refractive formula is then you calculate the exactly calculate the refractive error, and then calculate the intraocular lens power. Sorry. According to Professor Jeans, the greatest challenge for the calculation of IL power not in the IL power formula themselves, but in the accurate prediction of pre-pseudophakic lens position. So lens position in the eye is very, very important thing. For example, during surgery, if you rupture your capsule is rented, then probably you will not be able to implant the lens in the bag. So the bag position is a separate position, and in the sulcus position in a separate position. Then you can implant the lens over the iris and in the anterior chamber. So the manufacturer has given a specific A constant, and according to the A constant, you will change the IL power, otherwise you will get a refractive surprise. So effective lens positioning is very, very important thing, that where will you place the lens in the eye. Rule of 9 for sulcus IL power. In the big IL power, change to sulcus IL power. 0 to 9 diopter, you are allowed to not change the lens power. For example, if there is any problem and you are not able to implant the lens in the bag, you can implant in the sulcus and you don't change the number. But 9.5 to 18, you will subtract 0.5 diopter. But 18.5 to 27 diopter of power lens, you will subtract 1. And 27 and up, subtract 1.5. Future trend. Today we have not only 4th generation formula, but also other technological advances, such as laser interferometry, swift source OCT, and artificial intelligence radial basis function. Artificial intelligence is you put the data in a software, in computer calculate, you will also put your refractive error post-operatively. Then the artificial intelligence will automatically calculate your lens power. One of the latest development in the optical biometry is intraoperative wavefront aberrometry. This technology provides real-time intraoperative refractive information to increase the precision and accuracy of IOL selection under aphakic and pseudophakic condition after removal of a cataract lens in normal eye, post-refractive surgery eyes, and post-radial keratotomy eyes, even in toric lenses premium IOL. This is, I think, the best innovation. Intraoperative aberrometry is an additional tool that allows surgeon to take both phakic and pseudophakic refractive measurement in the operating room too, and in the determination of intraocular power selection and placement. Intraoperative aberrometry is now being used as a way to confirm and improve accuracy of IOL calculation. The OptiWave refractive analysis device Aura by Alcon is one example of this. It has been shown to be at least equal to more advanced Barrett and Hell RBF formula, but may have special use in complex cases such as post-refractive or in toric IOL, as I said. This is what the machine is, which can be implanted to the microscope, and after cataract removal, they can give a precise intraocular lens calculation. This is, I think, a very important tool for toric IOL as well. And this is means during the surgery, when you remove the lens, and then even if you implant the lens, then you can calculate the lens power through this machine. What you have to do in this situation when there is aphakia, pseudophakia, pediatric age group, silicon-filled eye, after refractive surgery, and corneal transplant, RPG-based IOL. In aphakia, emergent technique is the method of choice. Most of the value remain similar in theoretical equation except the manufacturer ACD and measure K lead. The ACIL or scale fixation IOL, the appropriate A constant is used. In pseudophakia, this can be important for IOL exchange or for comparison, while along biometry for the other eye. In newer devices, pre-filled data is available in accordance with the type of implant. So whichever lens you implanted, they are already in the machine. You can select that one. Optical biometry is preferred, which offer more accurate correction of the axial length by correcting factor, which varies as per the lens type and thickness. In pediatric age group, currently all infants above 2 years are advised IOL implantation, while some controversy exists in younger age group, like an infant. A greater undercorrection can lead to amblyopia. So you will keep in mind, if the patient or parents are not even means their commitment are not proper, they will use glasses. So you can increase the number, remain toward the ametropia, and to prevent the amblyopia. Sorry. A rule of 7 up to the age of 7. Target refraction 7 age and year is subtracted. So if the child is 6 years old, then subtract 1 diopter. Then the 1 diopter you will subtract. For example, IOL power is 26, then you will implant 25. Another method is up to 2 months controversial implantation, up to 2 year 80% of IOL power you can implant, 2 to 8 year 90% you can implant. Posterior segment surgery. when there is silicon-filled eye, the refractive index of the IOL is much less than that of the vitreous. One must know which velocity to select to avoid a small mistake in axial length. This is usually achieved after alteration of setting in the newer machine. Measurement of axial length by optical method has been found to much more accurate for silicon-filled eyes. After refractive surgery, instrument error occur due to the inability of keratometer to measure the central zone of effective corneal power. While they measure a 3.2 millimeter zone diameter, this misses the central effective zone. This overestimates the corneal power by 1 diopter for every 7 diopter of correction of refractive error. Formulae error occur in nearly all modern ones like Holliday's RKT, but not in Haig's, all of which use the axial length and K to predict effective lens position postoperatively. IOL with negative spherical aberration like Tecnes Acrisof IQ would correct spherical aberration induced by myopic LASIK. So the lens with negative aberration, I think this is will be the good option. Refractive multifocal IOL further reduce contrast sensitivity and so not recommended. Diffractive multifocal IOL is not preferred as diffractive ring added to already multifocal cornea and so not recommended. In corneal transplant, it is extremely difficult to accurately predict corneal power in transplant patient. An alternative option is to use the average K reading from a series of previous transplant. If there is a corneal scar but no graft is planned, other eye reading can be used, or even the power calculation calculated using axial length and refractive error of affected eye. Piggyback IOL. In patients with post-IOL refractive surprise or in those with large diopter requirement, a piggyback IOL in sulcus can be placed along with the primary implant. This method does not require knowledge of the power of primary implant or of the axial length. Minor adjustments are needed, which can be achieved using this formulae. For myopic correction, for example, if there is a refractive surprise of -1, then you multiply with 1. So the lens you will implant means the piggyback IOL will be 1. So for how much is the refractive error? For minus, you implant that much of IOL in the sulcus. For hyperopic correction, you will multiply by 1.5. And this is advice for piggyback IOL that you will not implant both the lens in the bag. For example, if the primary one is in the bag, because the interlenticular opacity usually occur due to lens sliding. You implant one lens in the bag, one in the sulcus, and try to implant one, for example, acrylic lens, then the another one is silicon lens. Eye with high myopia, paraxial measurement and ultrasonic measurement due to posterior staphyloma is likely to give a refractive surprise. It is partly overcome by optical biometry using a fixation target. So I think when there is high myopia and you planned surgery, the conventional biometry will give a refractive surprise. So try to take the axial length measurement with the optical biometer. Patient will fixate, and then the exact another method is also available like OCT. OCT is also available for exact calculation of axial length. Potential error leading to the placement of a wrong IOL included use of an older IOL formula. Most of the people are using the older formula. Incorrect measurement of the eye axial length. Incorrect keratometry reading. Mistake in entering the data into the IOL calculation program. incorrect labeling of the IOL by the manufacturer, mistake in providing the IOL at the time of surgery. When you have multiple surgery, multiple lenses are placed there, so they can change and you can place a wrong IOL. Take home messages. This is the last slide. Consider repeat measurement if axial length is less than 22 or more than 25 millimeter. Average corneal power less than 40 or more than 47 diopter. Between two eyes, there is a difference in corneal power more than 1 diopter, you repeat it. Axial length more than 0.3 millimeter, you repeat it. Ametropic IOL power more than 1 diopter. So this is very important. You take the clue from another eye if you have done a surgery previously. Thank you so much.